After making 2 videos, I felt incredibly discouraged. To kind of counteract that, I set a goal of having 50 videos public on YouTube. And the idea was that I will allow myself to consider giving up only after I have 50 videos on YouTube public. The deadline was March 11th, so I had to make almost a video a day. That was the goal. That is still the goal. I thought that the goal would clear up everything and I would just keep going and keep making, but the idea of being drained, the feeling of being drained, being sucked out every single day just kept coming back. I started to research. I didn't really find anything. Only after a couple of days, I read an article by Dan Koe. There was said that if you find something that you're going to do and set a goal and you're ready and you have started, you need to have a particular mindset. Yes, mindset. And it was said like this. The people who, for example, have 100,000 subscribers on Instagram or YouTube, we don't really think about how much it took, how long it took. The difference between us and them is that they have 10 years mindset, while we have 2 weeks mindset. And then it kind of clicked in my mind that almost 80% of my projects have been exactly kind of canceled because of that, because of short-term thinking. I never had the issue of not being intense or not taking action, but I always would just bail out at the end, or after a couple of weeks, even months, I would just kind of say, fuck it, just go. I also thought about making a blog. I write a lot. Although I have never published anything, I have been writing for a couple of years now. Obviously, I thought about making a blog. I have experience in building websites. The first idea that came to my mind was that I would build it myself. Even though there are free platforms where I could publish my articles, there's still that idea that I would not have control over them. There wouldn't really be anything that I could do if they were to be taken down. If I had my own website, it would be completely mine. I set a goal of making a blog and literally just started doing it right away. In my journal, I wrote that I would finish it in a day, right? It's pretty easy to set up. It's not going to take much time. I know all the technologies I need. I know how to deploy it. I know what to do with the domain. I know how to set it up. I know how to do pretty much everything, right? Well, I was wrong. By the end of the day, I have not made literally any progress, even though I have been sitting there literally grinding my head against the table, not knowing what to do. I built the app without authentication. I tried to deploy just to test it. It would not deploy for some reason. I still haven't figured it out yet, because I started a new project instead. It's the same blog, but it's just different. And just like that, thinking that I would finish in a day, I kind of gave up. The next day, I didn't even think about completing it or trying it again. It was that short-term thinking that literally made me give up on it. And once I read the article by Dan Koe, when he wrote about short-term and long-term thinking, I actually remembered everything and how long it actually takes. Then I set a goal of making my blog, at least, to get it to the point when people can actually read it. I gave it a deadline of 30 days. The interesting thing was that I started yesterday. I used different technologies that I didn't actually know. I kind of decided to learn something new. The MVP of it, the minimum viable product, the at least working prototype, is actually finished. You can actually see it right now online. I'm gonna link it in the description. It's an interesting concept because even though I felt just as drained when I made this prototype, I never actually considered like maybe I shouldn't have a blog. because I know that it's going to take a long time and even more effort than I think. It's okay. That's the interesting part about it. And that kind of short-term thinking almost got me. It's also very interesting that for building skills, I have probably even better long-term thinking compared to other people. For example, learning to code or learning a language. I know that it's going to take a long time and it's okay with me. Or for example, video editing or Photoshop or web design, writing even. I just know it's going to take a long time and a lot of effort, and I just kind of know that I'm going to do it anyway. But I have a very weirdly wired brain. Some projects, if I know that I can finish them up in perfect condition with incredible intensity, then I'm going to be thinking short term. I know that if you put enough intensity, it can be finished very quickly. Sometimes it actually got me. Even today, when I was trying to build a blog, it almost got me again. So that's the idea. You have a project, you have a goal. If you already consider that a project or a goal, you know that it's going to take a long time, don't you? It's probably going to take at least half a year, maybe 3 months at least. You know that's how much it's going to take to build a skill, to set it up and running. It's going to take a long time compared to one day. But that is what actually gets people. We need to have a 10 years mindset. It doesn't really matter how old you are. In 10 years, you will probably want to be in a different place from now, in a better place. And if you have that kind of mindset that in 10 years it's going to be so much better, then it's going to be so much better because you haven't given up yet.